Hello everyone, today in this video we'll see how to model a street in Sketchup and render it in Lumion. First let's open Sketchup 2023 version or anything above that. Let's take 2 meters template. Once the interface opens, you can see how you can toggle between top view and front views. To creating the street, we'll be using this tools like push and pull, rectangle, and arc. From the top view, let's create a road intersection. Once you go to any tool, it by default shows the dimensions. So if you want any particular length and width, you can type in by giving a comma if it's a rectangle area. Like example, if it's 30 by 30, you can just type 30 comma 30 and then it gives you that shape. Now I'm taking 3 meters by 30 meters. Now we've got one a direction of street. If you type T, that's the tape command, you can measure each and every surface that's created, and you can also have your own guidelines to start the modeling, and that doesn't come out in your exported format or any PDF, but it just gives you a guide of the reference grid you can create with that. So once this is one surface is done, let's copy it to create an intersection and rotate the same surface, place it on the middle surface, midpoint of the surface. Let's delete the intersected lines. Let's offset it. You type O, you get the offset command. Now you see the offset has been taken, and then the center part can be the road, and on either side can be the pedestrian walkway. Let's extend it to the edges so we can create 2 different surface of pedestrian and road. Simply use the move tool, which is the command M. Now you see separate surfaces are identified. Now let's give asphalt or road color to the center part, and then the white will be our pedestrian walkway. So let's fillet that with the command arc. Just go for the symbol, or maybe type in A and then you get the arc symbol. If you need to get any particular reference line, you go to the command T and double click on any point, and it gives you a horizontal or a vertical grid. So I've created the guideline as to way to fillet the surface. Now I'll give the curve. And now we'll remove or trim the extended or unwanted curves and delete it. Now you can see the intersection junctions created. Always give a thickness to the material. Type P for the command push, and you can type in how much thickness you want to give, and it pulls up or goes down in the direction your mouse moves. With the command P, you give the thickness. Now the road is done, and we'll give another surface underneath that. So make that as a group and this as group. To select the material, if you select once, it's the surface. If you double click it continuously, it selects the surface. If you click it 3 times, it opens it recognizes the whole block. Now we've given material. Now as it's the street rendering, we'll create some context building blocks in the form of massing. Go to rectangle tool and then push, create everything in maybe 1 or 2 stories and maybe few blocks in a tall structure. To move it in any particular direction, when you're moving it, click on the arrow marks left, right, up and down, and it fixes the axis like X, Y, and Z. Now you push and pull to create different forms around the street. It gives you an idea of how the buildings can be modeled. If you have an existing building, you can place it inside this street, but if you don't, we can create massings like this. Let's give layers to roads and context. Always work on layers. Find the tags in default tray, add a layer, give it a name as roads, and then add tags in the toolbar as well. Select the blocks, it shows it's untagged, and the roads, you assign it to roads. Now if you see blocks, it comes in untagged, but the road model comes in road layer. That's how you add on to the layer in toolbar, but you create the layer in default tray. Make a context layer, select the blocks, align it in the toolbar, and that's how you create layers. Now let's add more context towards this side of the road. We're only making a basic building forms like massing, so we'll keep everything in a 1 or 2 stories, or maybe just 1 or 2 tall structures. To copy things, it's always easy to move with the axis on. So whenever you're moving, keep your arrow keys in place so that it's easy for you to move. Let's edit one of these buildings. Double click in that building, draw a rectangle, and push the surface inside. This creates a niche sort of facade, and that's how you push inside the building. By doing like this, you create an open space. We'll be focusing mainly on this intersection of things, whichever is coming here. Keep the intersection more open so that we can add more elements into thing. We'll create scenes, so added one scene. We can reduce the edges by clicking in this section. Now update the scene again, and the lines are much more lighter in that setting. Let's give a material surface under this opening with line command. L is the command for it. Create a surface. Create the surface and give a thickness by giving push. Now let's add material, a pavement material to it as it's on the street. Now basic model of a street in context buildings is almost done. Make it more dense building. Let's push it inside. So click into the building and double click the surface and grab the rectangle tool, make a surface and push it outside to extend the surface. If you go click the scene, that's how it looks. Always work on scenes so that you don't have to keep zooming in and out, which will also make the file very heavy. Now let's add materials to the roof and models. So you can see how the shadow and sun path would also look like in this. It's easier to get the initial stage of street modeling in SketchUp. It gives you as much as detail you want in this. That's how you control the light and shadow. Let's give materials to the roof. Currently we have all flat roofs, so we can create a sloping roof. We can give all these are shingles, which is used in sloping part. So let's create slope surface to this. Double click on the surface and select the line command, and then make a shape or an angle at any angle. Then push the surface back, and that's how you create a sloping surface or any cut angles. And now those shingles makes more sense with the sloping roof. Let's create a door thing. Again, it's still in a modeling basic massing form, which is giving door to, so we get a scale idea of a scale of what or how high the building is. We'll just draw another rectangle, delete the middle section. Once you double click onto the group object, to isolate that viewing plane, you double click the object and type in I. That's the command that gets you out. It lets you come out of the whole model and you can only see this block. And double click that I, and you can see the isolation. That's what I was talking about. Now let's create a garage thing. So metal surface maybe. Let's keep it light and subtle. So we'll extend the pathway, create a rectangle, make that a group, dropper, select the match the material and give it a color. So now you get a scale of the magnitude of the area that we're doing because of the sloping roof and the door opening. Now let's give all the blocks and roofs material so that we can give the right textures in Lumion. Let's keep everything in a pastel or a lighter color. You can give any random color accordingly because that's not the final texture that it would look like. So that's just differentiating the color palette in Lumion. So anything you select gray will change together in Lumion. That's why we're giving different materials. Let's create another opening here. Click onto the block, get the surface, make it dark and contrasting. To give a different material of your own desire, you select this image. You find the picture that you want, a wooden texture, a clear image we need, or a concrete surface as we're going with pastel colors. Get a clearer picture with has textures, save the image. So that's in JPEG format, that works. Go back to that, select the color and edit, go to this image, finding the image, locate your image and open it. The whole thing gets the picture, but the scale is wrong. Each concrete tile is repeating. You can give different material inside. For outside, now we'll change the pattern, maybe in creating a contrast. To this one, select this, edit and unlock the size. This is where you can edit the size of that picture. You can give at what size you would like to have that texture, and now it looks monotonous surface. That's how you import an image texture onto the surface. Now inside here, maybe a circular mass will create. C is the command. Then let's make and then push. Let's make that as a group. Triple click that, becomes one block. Give it a different texture. Inside we'll make it a landscaping color. Maybe we'll keep it green. Outside could be gray. If you click the scene again, the view that we want to work on still is intact. Giving a different color to the surface. That end of the street still looks very empty, so we'll add masking. Double click on that, increase the height, give an angle, push it back, delete that, and maybe copy the same thing. You can increase the scale by clicking S as the command, so it looks a little filled. I think that's enough. Same thing on this side. Maybe we'll create an opening, push it back. The surface is empty. There is a surface underneath, so we'll push it till the end. Now it's completely empty. Now we need, let's create a depth as a pond or a water body. Rectangle and push it back, and then we'll give that as a water texture. Yeah, we'll still increase the width of it outside. Let's give a supporting or a threshold outside the thing. Select the surface, and the command is O for offset. Create a rectangle. Okay, the rectangle is not required. That's how you make a offset. Select the rectangle, and O is the command. Now you give a different surface to just that one. It looks like a deck feel. Align it to the pedestrian surface. Delete that. Flush it till the pedestrian walkway, and this side surface also to be removed. Now let's remove this rectangle. We don't need this anymore. Push it back, because this block is empty, and we'll create a new surface. Make a square rectangle, group it, give it a thickness, and then the watercolor to it. Now water is a separate surface, deck is a separate surface. If you go on to warehouse, you can find different things like people and pool things, but it's not really necessary to make everything in warehouse. Now let's give the same material to this side as well. The inside material to be more darker, maybe it looks more appealing. Let's give it a wooden texture. Okay. And we should also give different material to the context building as well. We should never forget that, otherwise any default color is there. Everything is set to one color in Lumion, so make sure every surface and every building is in that particular color. Everything should be different. If everything is in one gray color, then you don't get to change it in Lumion. So now the basic modeling is done. For SketchUp, which has versions which are more than 2022, they will get to open Lumion Live Sync, which is you can keep modeling it side by side and keep seeing the rendered view. If not, you can open the Lumion directly as a different surface, but it's not live sync anymore. It takes a while to open up. Until then, we'll just try a new scene, create one scene with the block, without the block. It's things like that will make easier to it's easier to convince when you have multiple options for the same space. So now if you see, there's a rectangle block here, and we've placed it here, and then let's say we'll hide that and update the second scene. Now in this scene, again hide the rectangle and keep the original one and update. So both scene has different objects, but the view is same. So like this, you can show different options and different perspectives to get clients approval or to show them different varieties. That's how you can play around with animating. Starting the live sync takes a time because the file becomes too heavy. Just give it some time. Meanwhile, you can see or make more models by the time it opens. It's opening. Continue with the update. Once Lumion opens, you get to see the SketchUp model in place. You don't have to export anything from SketchUp to Lumion. You can directly open the live sync, and anything that you update in your SketchUp will immediately reflect in the live sync. You can open it side by side as well if your screen is bigger and it's easier for you to view, but that's how this looks. Lines are very crisp and neat, more closer to real blocks. You don't see the lines, edges like you see in modeling software. So you have same thing as you see in Lumion, weather, landscaping things, changing material, table, everything is the same. Go to content library. You can go to camera and then click this picture. It's like that's the view that we're working on. Again, go back to build, and let's add few things like people and trees. Select the people, arrow mark, select anything of your choice. Let's have more peoples in one go, placing more people in one go. So you select the linear replacement, select an angle, how many elements you want in from that space. You select different people. You can select animals, 2D, 3D with animation, without animation as well. Select everything, but the scale looks a little off from our 3D modeling to our Lumion elements. So that corner block is very small. So we want to edit that. Instead of closing the whole file and doing the changes again, importing back is tedious. So you cancel this, switch off the live sync if you want. When you want to edit that, go back to SketchUp and select. We'll check the height. It's 1.8. Yes, that's why it's smaller. Increase the scale or just increase the height of that. Let's increase another 1.8 meters, then it makes sense. See, and then maybe increase the size as well. Can move around. And then once you again open back the Lumion with the SketchUp file on, you just see this. Let's increase the whole context size. Scale it. Again, move this back. Now it's almost same. Let's check the height. Checking and measuring the height is the command T. The tape command opens. So let's increase it more. Move the objects back. That is still smaller. You can still increase the scale. Axis, hold on to your axis and then move. Now it all it's easier to scale. After this, let's open Lumion again. Then select the whole thing. If you go back to Lumion, turn on the live sync again. Opens the everything is altered already. You don't have to save the SketchUp file or again import it into different software. That's the advantage of live sync. So we have a linear placement. We have 3 items right now. We'll add different people, increase the number of people. Within this set of cluster, you can add anything or types of people and animals that you see in the catalog. Can change the direction in which everybody changes or give a random direction for each element as well. You can change or play around with that. You still have control on what all things you want to keep it, what all elements you want to have in the picture. Sometimes it might get stuck, and just give it a minute or two to load in. Now you confirm the tick. You can still select single elements or maybe move the things that you've selected. Maybe add some trees, linear arrangement again, so that it's easier when you modeling something very big, and you can, when you tend to add more things at the same time, might as well have it in cluster. So let's add something which are like very small plants, whichever is suits for the pedestrian crossing. Also, the model that we have done is very tiny. It's not a typical road layout. The road and pedestrian are the same width we have given. So just place something that is smaller, plants or a vegetation. You can add the leaves on the ground, random weeds, flowers. Just explore whichever is appealing for you. And then you can change the direction, increase the number of items. Let's add something that's colorful so that feels like a flowery pathway. Let's go to plants or maybe flower. Confirm it, and you can give these any other places, make it more nicer. Let's go to grass. More flower thing for the open space that we have designed. Yeah, something similar to this. If we have to add transport, you go here, and similar to those places you place it. As our model is very tiny, this placing a car wouldn't make sense, so we can place a two-wheeler or a smaller transport. You can still rotate. You have the controlling of scaling, moving the object and rotating it. So even if you place a car, you'll just have to reduce the scale of it. And let's not just add the car, let's add a two-wheeler or a motorcycle, something like this. This would be better. Click onto that, place it, then maybe rotate it here, select the object, go to here. Either you can have control over the axis or directly orbiting the object works too. So that's how you place trees, people, vehicles. Then to add water, go to landscape. In the water category, select the water type you want to place, or let's select the type. Anything is fine, just select whichever is appealing for you, place it, just click on some surface, it'll give you it looks like this. So you can modify it with the corners and increase the highs or decrease the height of it so that it goes up and down. Now it looks exactly how water would look like. Now we'll see how to change the material. Go here, select the material. You see, you get a catalog of all the textures. You find the wood that you want to have. You get to change a lot of properties like reflectiveness, the scale of the texture, roughness. You can have change that. Go back to library, select that material, maybe a different wooden pattern for that. Same, double click on that. You get to go to properties, reduce reflectiveness, and then click OK. For context, you will keep something gray. In the plasters, something in gray for external walls. Yeah, this would be better to keep everything in a warm tone. And then you color or give material to all the context blocks that we've done. And if you see that the reflection of that building is too much, so here you can reduce the reflectiveness. That's why you reduce the reflectivity of all the surfaces that you give. And then for, like, you see, everything just changed because all of this was in one color. So if you don't give separate colors in SketchUp, you cannot give the particular designated materials in Lumion, and there's no way to change that. You'll have to change that in software, SketchUp software. So anyway, we won't be seeing the roof view, so this is fine. Let's keep something in brick, which gives like a rustic warehouse view. So yeah, it looks something like this. Let's give a different, try something else. So the textures look pretty much real, and the wood, we can make it like a sliding door color, or maybe something like a plank. Yeah, this should be fine. Maybe reduce the scale. Yeah, this is good. Now we'll add a few water elements in this open space. You go to utilities, effects, place, and you get to see water fountains and different types of things. Whatever is fit for your model, go with that. I'm choosing this single fountain thing. Maybe just your, I know it's not very technical thing, but you can just place around and see how it looks in render. You have leaves and fog. Just give these effect. When you're making walkthrough, these elements do look good. This makes it more realistic. If you could give fog somewhere in a roof, and that's fine. Let's add light on the street light, so we need a fixture for it. Let's find an object, the street lamp or street post lamps, lighting, lamp post. Let's have this. That's way too big, but it's okay, we can reduce the scale. Select the object, reduce the scale. You can rotate it to the angle that you want it. Now we need to add the light. Go to object, you get to see how you want the light to look like. We'll give different lights to both the bulbs. If you want to further edit the type of lighting and the radius of the light, you select the object and you get to choose or reduce the angle, and you see the cones change the minute you change your cone angle. Give a different light to the other one so that we can find difference. Select the object, scale. Now you can see the difference only when it's in night mode. And let's add strip light to these open spaces. Go to area light, you get a single line light. In one strip you get the light without the fixture. It's just light coming out without any element. You can change the properties by changing the width and length of it, and that's how you give a profile lighting or a hidden lighting. It's mainly good, looks good in interior designs, but we can use it like that as well. If you set it to night mode, you can see how the light intensity looks like. If you completely make it dark, you can see how much it is. See, I gave different cone radius for both, and that's how it looks. So you can change it according to your vision of how you want to make it look like that. You select the object and increase the brightness and rotate that. If you make it look like towards upside or maybe down, that's your call. Maybe add another strip light and reduce the intensity. Increase the intensity. And reduce the cone angle so it's not a very diffuse light, you get a strong lighting. And if you want to add more light, different types of light, go to Omni Light, and it's more like a aesthetic focus lights that you see in exhibition and museums. So I mean, you can have a variety of lighting options as well. To create a random light in between, you can use this. You can place it somewhere behind our viewport so that the light is still coming, but you don't have to show the source of the light. Go to camera and click this picture, render the photo, add effects here. With the sun, you can change different sun headings so that you take one in the morning and one in night. You compare it with how it looks better. So when you take it in this way, you have 4 types to take a render quality. Always keep it in desktop or print. Desktop should do fine. It has a good quality as well. You can use it for presentation and client discussion. Then for the same view, you can have a different heading. Click a picture. You have it in the morning time. Save a different image. Now you have the same idea or in 2 different times. Now if you want to add a reflective surface, just place this on that surface, and when you want to render it, that particular surface becomes shining. So in case you're doing a interior project or maybe a skyscraper, you can just add that on that particular surface. Then you can change the way display looks like. In case you want to show it more like conceptual way, you go here and select the photo effect that you want to show, even though it's not completely modeled. To show it for presentation, you can have different styles just like you have in SketchUp, but this is more closer to real effect. It does give the sketchy effect of it. You can take render images of this as well. Let's try to create negative and positive color coding. You can take a picture again. So that's how you can model it around these photo styles, however, according to your presentation, and render it accordingly. Thank you for watching.